right. Well, everybody, I'm really delighted today because I have a guest with me who I will just say, Sarah, I'm a fan of yours. And I say that in the deepest, profoundest sense. So I'll introduce her before I tell you all about why I love her. So this is Sarah Utterback. Sarah, do you want to say hello?
Hi.
Hi, I'm so glad you're here. So Sarah is a super fabulously talented actress. And I would also say she's trying to be coy over there, but I'm not going to let her. I'm going to make her shine bright right now. She also is a very conscious artist. And what I would say about that is attuned, soul searching, spiritual, grounded. And Sarah, you can correct me if I get any of this wrong as we're talking about this today. I'm just going to give you guys the facts real quick. So Sarah got 35 meetings for representation and 35 offers for representation. So before we just get sucked into that number, I'm just going to dangle that in front of everybody because what I found in your journey, Sarah, because I remember the first time I saw you on a call and it was like there was kind of like a puss face, like a little bit of
Ooh,
resting
oh
bitch face.
boy.
She was not, yeah. And can you walk us back to like the story of how where you were before all this happened?
Would love to. Thank you
Okay.
so much. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to be here. So,
Me too.
yeah, I went into this with a lot of resistance and a lot of ego and preconceived ideas. And at one point, I was even talking to a friend about this, doing this course, and burst into tears on a sidewalk while we were getting ice cream in Burbank. I was just like throwing a fit, throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum about why. Why do I have to do this? Especially with some of those early exercises in the course. Why do I have to write out my actor story and perform it and blah, blah, blah? And I remember very distinctly being in a low I use spiritual words like vibration, so excuse me, but like very low vibration.
Yes. Use them. We
Just
use them here
use
too.
a
You are.
very low frequency over here. Just uh, it's interesting because I was reflecting before coming on here about the beginning of this process for me, and I was so divinely paired up with my accountability partners.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I love that.
And one of my accountability partners I've grown very close with, and now we tape each other. We do self tapes, and she said to me, I think just last week, she was like, I didn't see you smile for about 6 weeks, and we would
Wow.
Zoom every week and like check in with each other. And she said she remembers the moment it flipped, and she said she saw me smile for the first time, and it was like, oh, there she is. Oh, and it was like then all
Mm,
the blooming started to happen, and
yeah.
and it was a remembering of myself, really. It
Sarah,
was coming home to myself, and it was after doing those exercises that I was throwing a fit about.
wow. Sarah, I just want to say I can just say that I'm getting emotional because yesterday I was on a conversation with someone and I said, I think that really my job inside of helping actors is to help them remember who they are. And, that is something that sounds super egotistical to say out loud, but like in coaching on my own self to try to understand what I'm doing and what my life purpose is, and to hear you say it back to me is such a reassuring idea. But I'm really curious when you said,
Mm.
she noticed when you smiled. Did you track that? Did you notice that shift?
Um, when she reminded me of that moment, I knew exactly what moment she was talking about.
Yeah.
And God bless her. She's an angel in my life. You are too. I mean, you two were at the top of my gratitude list for Thanksgiving this year, but she was so non-judgmental, very, and still is so just compassionate, and believes in me,
Mm-hmm.
inspires me, pushes me. I really got so lucky, and I encourage anyone who's listening and in the program, to your accountability partners that was really a
Yeah.
key part of the program
Yeah.
for me. But I'd love to also speak on the remembering part too,
Yeah.
because I I agree with you. I I was so lucky I got to be home in my hometown at my parents' house when I
Yeah.
was writing my acting story.
Uh-huh. Oh, so
And
surrounded by all the things
I
from
was
your
oh my god, I
childhood and
was
when you fell in love with acting and all those kinds
yeah,
of things,
I
right?
had the newspaper clippings and the playbills and the ticket stubs to my first shows and
Yes.
you know, the awards or the diplomas and all of this stuff, the photo albums of me as a teenager doing my first plays and doing my first musicals, and I just got to experience that me again. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, look at the joy on my face. And there was nothing and no one that was going to tell me I couldn't do this because
Yeah.
this is what I loved. This is who I was. This was, you couldn't, you couldn't separate me from this. And then what happened along the way is all of these things separated me from that truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was so joyful and so sweet. And so I just felt so much compassion for myself, um and I was inspired by myself. I was like,
Yes.
God,
Oh, I
that
love that.
17-year-old man, she was doing it. She was not going to take no
Yeah.
for an answer.
Oh, I love that.
And that kind of spitfire, yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
Well, I love what you're saying. I love that you had that experience of being home. I can see how that would be such a you got the resources almost around you to even help flood your senses with who you like who, for remembering who you are. And then I'm also thinking about how, you know, the things that separate us from the truth of who we are, you know, and can you tell a little bit of the story of what when you came to say, okay, I'm gonna frick it. I love what you said earlier, actually. You said, why do I have to fricking do this? Why do I need to go through a course or do anything to get reps? Like, I've worked before. I was a recurring role on Grey's Anatomy, for Christ's sake. Like, why am I having to do this? Right? Like, I shouldn't have to do this. There are actors who didn't have to do this. So why am I having to do this work? Right? And I mean, let's just be very clear. You could not do it, but what you just described wouldn't be the journey that you would have had, or maybe even the reps that you would have found at that time. Can you take us back to kind of like who you were right when you, like, what was going on in your career before you decided to do this? Obviously, you didn't have the reps that you wanted or desired, but what else was
No, I
going on?
hadn't. Yeah, I hadn't had reps for right before the pandemic. I had a manager who decided to become a producer, and to be honest, you know, I didn't get uh, I didn't have a lot of traction, or you know, didn't get a lot of appointments with him. Um, it was clear that his heart was elsewhere, and we're still friends. I wish him well. But I had gone through pretty much my whole career just saying yes to whoever would take me.
Mm,
I would sign with reps in the room on the first meeting without meeting with anyone else because I was in such a desperate low self-worth. Oh, you like me? Okay, I'll sign with you. Because that's what we're taught. We're
yeah,
taught that it's so hard to get reps.
yeah,
And or you explain it so spot on with the bouncer of the club analogy, because that's what it felt like. It was like, you're my gateway to doing what I love, rather than like, you actually need me to do
yeah.
what you love too.
Yeah, and also what I
And
heard, I just heard something for the first time, Sarah. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I want to say I heard something for the first time when you said it, which is like we not only make them into a bouncer to let us into a club, but we also have an entire, like the person in front of you, God bless the manager or agent in front of an actor who in their beginning parts of their career where they might not have had this kind of training or had this kind of perspective, but they represent so much more than that person. That there's so many ghosts in that room with them of mom and dad saying, why are you going to be an actor? Or the money you spent to go to acting class, or the money you wasted on a workshop, of all those ghosts in the room. And of course, when someone says yes, you're like, oh my God, I get to say yes to someone, have some relief. I can just see how that would be so much relieving to say yes to somebody. Let me take that off now. Someone's going to take care of that for me. But then I think that sets you up at such a weird ass relationship. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just heard that in a different way for the first time.
yeah, no, it is weird. And it was weird for me I don't know that I ever really was comfortable mixing art with commerce. We're not taught that. And I never knew how to value what I had to offer.
Mm,
Um, and also, I don't think I ever really knew how to pitch myself or market myself before this course. That's not taught either. This is really a college level course, and I'm telling a lot of people that when I talk about it, because I learned skills that are necessary to doing this as a career. Um, and you can't avoid it. You have to do this. And I avoided it for a long time. I didn't want to do it. I felt like I was bad at it. I felt like awkward and like I don't know how to network or schmooze or work the room like my friends know how or people, and I really held that judgment of myself that I was bad at the business side
mm,
of acting.
mhm,
And
mhm.
and of course it affected the choices that I was making in the reps that I was signing with, or, thinking this is the best I can get, or no one wants to see me unless I have some fresh material, or all of these stories that we tell ourselves, which they're just stories. No one else is telling us them. It's just us. This is what I learned
Yeah,
during the
yes,
program. I was
yes,
like,
yes.
oh God,
Well,
it's just
I
me.
also think there's like this
Um,
weird ancestral trauma of actors that like we like inherit the stories by standing in line at Equity or being next to actors at auditions or in other acting classes. Like the stories are just right there to pick up at any time you hear another actor tell the journey. Like they're just so, I almost want to say like it's like fast food, easy to pick up on the way instead of like considering if that's really what I want to say yes to in terms of the way I want to think about the business. It's just like right there. If here's some hot fries from McDonald's, how can you say no? Great. And by the way, those hot fries are actually the lie that agents only care about what's on your resume. Like it was just so easy to grab onto instead of face, oh my gosh, what if I have to just be honest with where I am in the business? Or what if I have to be vulnerable about how what I've been able to accomplish all on my own? Or I just really have a lot of compassion for actors around those stories that you're talking about.
Oh God, and it's like we just take it for fact. And there's no rules here. There's no rules in Hollywood. We buy into what people tell us about it. But
Yeah.
everybody has a story and there's 1,000 different ways to get to Rome or whatever. I don't know if that's even
Yeah.
a thing. But
I feel like
um
it's the thing. I don't know if
so
that's the right one, but I think that's a thing.
it's not. Um, yeah, so I was in just a real, there was some entitlement. I'll call myself out. There was some like, this should be easier, and not like thinking I had to do the work. And that was another realization. Like the work never ends. You got to always do the work. You have to always take action. Everyone is hustling. Like Emma Stone had a hustle for the favorite, like you never ends. Like
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a great example, but it just you always have to be working on the business side. So I don't know that I was the most aggressive or uh, inspired to go get out there and start doing it. And I was in a victim mentality of why and and then we had this pandemic and I was like, well, I'm just going to go inward now and I'm going to
Hmm.
stay inside and go inside myself. And I started doing some deep inner inner plumbing, working
Yeah.
working everything out, and started to study manifestation a little bit,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
that really doesn't come from our thoughts, that reality is created from our beliefs. And I started looking at my limiting beliefs, and and it just kind of like, when you start to take little action in your life that's for your highest good, the invitations start to come in,
Yes.
and you just have to start
Yes.
saying yes. So that's
Yes.
what happened. Was I was without reps for a year and a half, and then I safely went and had dinner outside with a friend and his girlfriend, Alexandra Daniels.
Yes. We love
And
her.
I was like, I don't know what to do. I haven't gone out on an audition for a year and a half. Like, I don't know that anyone would want to rep me. I don't have any fresh material, blah, 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 all this. And they were like, you gotta work with Brian Pataka. So I was like, who is this guy? What is this course? No, I
I
don't want
hate
to
him
work with
already. Wait, I
medical
always think like
doctors.
I hate him already is what I actually think. What I actually thought is I was like, screw you, no way, Jose. So I'm super resistant whenever I have a coach. Just so you know, I'm gonna call myself out. I am the most resistant client in the world. With my coach, I'm like, we always have like 8 minutes where I'm like, I hate everything about this moment, and then 8 minutes in, I'm good. With my
Mhm.
coach now, that's over with. But I try like, I hate this. Why are you even telling me this? I'm mad that you had like I could just react like I'm mad that you have a solution to my problem. I felt a little good about my problem. That's sometimes where I'll land when like if I had these two friends sitting across from me. No, 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 you don't understand. I want to complain about this, and I want to
Yes,
I want to hold on to this. I want to be the
holding on.
actor who doesn't have the auditions. I want to be the actor who doesn't have reps, whose resume isn't good enough. I want to be that right now. How dare you try to help me? Oh, that makes it so gross and perverse right there. Oh, but it's so true.
It's so true. And everything, we do this because on some level it's serving us. On
Yeah.
some level we're holding on because it reinforces a narrative somewhere.
Yeah.
And y- I, oof, I mean, I could really out myself. We're just gonna
You
out
heard it
all
here
our
first.
shadows today.
You
This
heard it
is
here
great.
first.
Um, no, it's just the like, there was probably some part of me that got some sort of satisfaction of people saying, I don't understand why you don't have reps. Why?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh, it
yes.
blows my mind. You don't have reps? Like something in me must have like,
It's like a weird compliment in a weird way. It's like you're
yeah.
amazing, so this is my way to give you a compliment right now. It's yeah. Not I'm not
Uh,
bad on their part, but the way we hear it or something.
there, I felt gross saying that, so we're even.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just
Yes.
yeah, it was some part of me must have just felt like that special attention or something, or people
Yeah.
commiserating with me or whatever. It's boring and it's not, it didn't serve me. And
But
so
it gives you wait, but Sarah, let's all just be real clear. Okay. It does
yeah.
let you feel a little self-righteous in your stance. So what we would say in A Course in Miracles, which is like the spirituality I'm trained in, is we
Please.
find a perspective and then we search for the evidence to support it.
Mm.
So we find the perspective that I'm the actor who doesn't have a resume that's good enough. Don't have any I don't have credits that people care about right now. There's nothing attractive about me, and so I'm going to find the evidence to support myself.
Yeah.
And then I would say in A Course in Miracles, we define a miracle as a change in perspective.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
That's
That
it.
that
It's
that,
your
that we can.
perspective of yourself is everything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
everything.
And wait, by the way, this is not, this is to be really clear. No one's like, I need a new agent. I think I'll change the perspective of myself right now. That's not where someone goes naturally. Like,
No.
who do I kind of ask for a referral? What can I do? Like, and so what I find that kind of, not that that's not, let's say efficient. Let me use that word for a second. But I don't think that it necessarily for the right actor sets them up to be who they want to be with their new person.
Well, exactly. And when I started this course, I was sitting with one of my best friends from college who I started a theater company with, Katie Lowe's.
Yes.
She's the fabulous, fabulous, wonderful, amazing Katie Lowe's.
I've been at two
We,
weddings with Katie Lowe's, just so you know.
oh my God, yes. She's the best.
Yeah.
And I've known her since I was 18. She's a huge part of my acting story on many levels. Um, and one of my sisters. So I was sitting with her in her backyard and I was telling her, I'm going to start this program to get reps. She's like, Sarah, just give me your stuff. I'll send it to my people. Like, what, just give it to me. And I said, no, I'm not in a
Wow.
state of where I'm not ready. Let me do this course because I just knew my frequency,
Yeah. Yes.
my
Yes.
vibration was not where I wanted it to be. And I wasn't in the state of mind and the state of being that
Hmm.
I knew I needed to be to have the reps that I wanted. And
Sarah,
I
I just
wanted
want
to
to,
give this a
yeah,
shot.
yeah. That's so graceful. That's so beautiful that you did that. I just wanted to commend you for that because that would be so hard to say, especially someone like Katie, who you know is going to be charismatic and really sell you and do the right thing. And she's your dear, dear, like friend, sister, like you
Yeah.
said, and is going to do it. And to say, I'm not ready to be in that room. And part of the value that I see in this for you is also, let's pretend it worked. Okay, let's just say it worked. You got the referral, blah, blah, blah. The Sarah that would show up in that meeting who would then make decisions about that rep isn't as smart as this Sarah, because this Sarah's
Mm.
cleaned up, taken a shower. She's taken a spiritual shower and washed off the thoughts or the myths
The
that are
bitch
gotten in the
face.
way. Yeah. Right. Okay. So wait, to take you back a little bit. So I know you said the accountability partner was a huge part of your process and really kept you on track. Was there any other specific part of agent goals that you would say helped you the most? What would it be? Why?
Yeah. There's several. Obviously the story again. That was the coming home to myself was so powerful, and also the experience of performing my story, how beneficial it was for not only myself but for the people I chose to share it with.
Yeah.
It
Such
was
a surprise, right?
bananas. Yeah. And I really left no stone unturned. Like, I did 21 pages typed.
Wow.
It was an
Wow.
hour and 15 minutes.
She did a one
And
woman
I was,
show.
oh yeah. And I was like, no, we're not letting any sneaky shadows out of this one. Everything's on the table in the bright, bright light. Let's go. Um, and I just wanted to stand there naked, like, in a way, like, here it is. Here's all my blocks.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine told me later, after the Zoom, I performed it on Zoom for 7 people.
Wow.
And
Extra credit. She did real extra credit, you guys. I just want to make sure you guys hear. She did some real extra
Capricorn.
credit. Yes, yes, yes. Me too. Wait, our birthdays are close. Didn't we figure that out once?
Did we? No, January
Mine's
12th.
January 12th.
What?
What? You're kidding me. Yours is January. We have the same birthday.
We've never done.
That is you guys all heard it here first, because we both freaked out. That is wild. Yes, me and you and Sporty Spice.
Wait, I didn't know.
Mel C. I turn to
Mel
you.
C.
Mel C. Sporty Spice.
And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
I have no idea.
Oh
Whoa,
my
that's
God.
amazing. That's cool. Okay. High five. High
I'm
tens.
freaking
Yes.
out. This is the
Okay.
second time that's happened in my life. Another time was my roommate in New York after 3 months of living with each other. We were like, wait, when's your birthday? When's your
Oh my
January 12th?
I had a boyfriend whose birthday was the same. That was not a good match.
Yeah.
Different.
Awkward.
Okay.
So
Good story.
my friend said
Yeah.
that after the Zoom ended and they gave me their feedback, that her husband cried pretty hard. Like, the hardest she'd seen him cry in their time together. And
Wow.
it was partly because he felt like, we're newer friends and he learned a lot about me and we became closer through the experience, but also because he remembered parts of himself that he had neglected and forgotten or shamed or hid, and that hearing my story, like, has since then shifted his work as an artist. And I was like,
Wow.
man, the universe is awesome here,
Yeah.
because
Look at
it's
taking
just
care of
like,
him.
look, it's benefiting everybody. And another person I shared it with, he's directing a feature film set in a small Midwest town about a teenage girl who dreams of being an actress and moves to New York. And he was just like, okay, now I need to talk to you about character development for my feature. And I was like, this is
Wow.
all beneficial for everyone. So that was like a really standout, magical experience for me. That's when
Mhm.
the magic, like, when I felt like the magic of agent goals was starting to, like, trickle in. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, serendipities happen,
Mhm.
synchronicity is starting to happen. This is cool. Another part is, fellow Capricorn, I love the worksheets. I love the step-by-step process. Tell me what to do and I will do it at 150% or whatever. But I still want to use these worksheets even after the course is done, because even now, while I am auditioning, those sneaky little limiting beliefs
Yeah.
come up, and I want to take them to the page and prove them false and go
Yeah.
through the steps that you lined for us around, what is the story that I'm telling,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how does it make me feel,
Yeah.
and, you know, changing the narrative. So
Yeah.
I love a worksheet, and
Can I tell you a little bit of the science behind the worksheet for a second?
yes.
So, and I'll just let you pull back the curtain, is I know how much representation. We've already talked about it, how much it like brings up all these feelings. And I was like, if we make it really practical, it's very hard for you to be allowed to go to kooky places because you have to walk through one step and then another, right? So some people have a very different reaction. They'll be like, I actually used my own notebook. I didn't want to use the worksheets because they have like a different way of thinking around the world. So it's interesting to hear how clearly you're like, no, they were attractive to me and they did something for me. So it's good to hear, for me to hear that, but also to kind of spread this out to that it depends on who you are, how you react to that. So that's really cool to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got the advice at the beginning of this from Alexandra Daniels,
Mm.
who told me, she said, do everything Brian tells you to do and don't question it. She like, because I
I
was
love
like
her so
questioning it
much.
from the get go. I was like, sacred email account? Really? Like, what do you mean? No, I'm going to use mine. And then, like, thank God I made the sacred email account. Oh, that would
Mhm.
have been a huge mess.
Yes.
So just don't question, just do it. It all means something and it will reveal itself later. And this course is just so exquisitely intentional and curated. And every single exercise and worksheet and task has a purpose. And when you do everything the best you can in that moment, doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get it done. Don't get it perfect. You get results, which you really hammer home. You get the results. And like you say, follow the recipe, you'll get a chocolate cake. But I
You don't
was
have to
like, no,
believe
no,
it. You don't
this
have to
is,
believe it.
you don't have
Yeah.
to believe it. I was like, this is
Yeah.
more than a chocolate cake. This is like a full, nourishing, organic meal with seaweed that fortifies you. And like, I was like, this is
Love,
bringing me back to myself,
love
So
it. Yeah.
don't skip it because it's all so important and it prepares you for that moment that you're sitting talking to a potential your potential future rep.
Yeah. Talk to me a little
It
about that. You had 35 meetings. Can you
yeah.
talk us through that? So before we even get there, you
Yeah.
you did your reach out to the, and you're getting responses and people saying, yes, I want to meet with you. Yes, I want to meet with you. What was that energetically like without getting too much into the technical piece of it?
Um It's funny. Energetically, I was really, again, I had my resistance and my stalling, and I had my perfectionism came up, and I was like, I'm not. When I had my email ready to go, and I was ready, I was getting ready to send it out, and Laura Nemi, my accountability partner, was
Yeah.
like, just do it, let's go, come on. She was like, schedule it Monday,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I was like, ooh, I want to. No, I'm, like
Yes.
really stalling, and she just that's why the accountability partners, they will push you, they will say get it out, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but like, what we do,
Oh no, your hand is
yeah,
sweating while you click send. Like your hand,
yes,
like I've yeah,
exactly, just like,
yeah,
yeah, and so um I just went for it, and she helped me to do, even when I didn't think that I was totally ready or everything was totally perfect. And I did 400 emails each day.
great.
Um, and I sent it to everyone,
Yeah.
and in LA.
And I want to
And
just interrupt for a second for anyone who's listening and just got overwhelmed by hearing that. I just want to make sure I want to make sure we
yeah,
take care of those people. I want
yes,
everyone to be
yes,
very clear that we ask you to cast a wide net inside of agent goals, and we do provide you with a database. So that's all very helpful. Of course, there's ways to update that database and all that. But one of the things that I love that you're saying, Sarah, is you send it to everybody because whether or not you decide to sign with one of those people, you would have the experience of being wanted, taking a meeting. Like, does that make sense when I say that? I think target lists are such a sham. I'm not going to go into that now because people can listen to the masterclass, whatever, makeagentswantyou.com. But I think that right now I want to talk
hmm
about like what it meant to you to cast a wide net. What did that mean to you?
um total transparency. I just didn't know what was out there. I didn't know that. I was really uninformed about this profession, this
Hmm.
profession that represents actors. These are real people who have stories just like us about why they became a manager or an agent. And there's so many in town that have just beautiful stories that, as I learned, I said yes to everyone who requested a meeting. I mean, towards the end, I started saying no because I had some phenomenal choices I just felt were in alignment. But I said
So you're saying you got more than
yes.
35?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I started saying no at the end because I was
Yeah.
just like, it's too much, and
Okay.
uh, but my first reaction was, okay, so I sent out 400 a day. I guess it's 1,200. And I didn't do, I think you may suggest in the course to, I sent it to everyone kind of
Right.
blindly. I didn't really do a ton of research
Great. Good.
on, I just sent it. So,
Yeah.
um, when I started
Oh,
getting
wait, can I just
responses,
wait, I want to pause there. Hold on to what you're saying. I want everyone to just hear what Sarah just said. She didn't do a ton of research. Good, because any research you could ever do about representation is never going to tell you the full story, and it is a waste of time, and it is just fodder for you to make up myths about the people you meet. You do the research
1,000%.
after you get the meeting and you decide, like, let me see if they really are what I think they're worth their medal or whatever after I've had a meeting to see who they are. So I just really appreciate you saying that, because I think people waste their time with these making the perfect target list of perfect people who are not even interested in them. Right.
Oh my God. And man, was I schooled as well in that department, because so I got all these meetings, or these meetings started coming in very
Yeah.
quickly. And my first reaction was, I don't want to take any of these meetings. I want to close the curtains, get in my bed, put the covers over my head, or I'm moving back to the Midwest and I'm not going to be an actor. Isn't that
Wow.
psych? Isn't
Yeah.
that just bananas?
Tell us why. Give us more.
It was suddenly being seen. It's like the
Mm.
thing you want for years, just someone see me, someone recognize me standing over here in the corner doing my little thing. And, like it was, it was almost like I, it was just a flood of being seen and valued, and people saying, a bunch of people say, I know exactly who you are. I loved you on Grays, or like, yeah, I'd love to take a meeting. And there was a few responses like, so, what have you been up to since then? And things like that, where I had little triggering come up, feelings. But it was just, it, it felt like my limiting belief around reps was just completely proven false in that moment. It was like,
Yay.
yeah.
If only that we win a prize. I feel like that is awesome. That's so
And so
good.
I went to my best friends, as I do, and then they, I talked to my therapist, and like, we're good.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got to that point where I was like, all right, no, I am an actor. This was just me wanting to hide a little bit
Yeah.
from the spotlight that I feel. And so I said yes,
Sarah, I'm
and
just picking up. Can I pick up on something also?
mhm.
I don't want to ask you about this. Can we have a little bit of a coaching moment?
Oh, I'd love it.
Okay, so in that moment when you wanted to retreat, you wanted to pull back and you felt like it was the spotlight, you were being seen. Was there a part of you that didn't believe it?
Yeah, and I think there was a part of me that, I've been in this business since I started working at 22 on television, and my first job, and I just got my heart broken so many times throughout. There's still a lot of disappointment there. I've had a lot of disappointment, and I was like, do I really want to do this to myself again?
Yeah.
Not having a rep, I wasn't getting out there. I wasn't getting the rejection from auditions. I wasn't. When you put yourself out there, you're taking a risk, and I had been playing it safe.
Yeah.
I've been keeping myself small because it was safe and unseen, so it's
I
not that I didn't believe it. It was just that it suddenly felt, you know it's a little like it's go time now again.
yeah.
And it was suddenly like, no, this is going to lead to signing, and this is going to lead to auditions. And auditions for me in the past, I feel like I've grown leaps and bounds in my auditioning technique even since starting this course, because again, my whole perspective has changed and my mentality about myself. So it was it's it's like the real work begins now. Like, all
Yeah.
this work we've been doing in Agent Goals is just the start. But then you're gonna
Yeah.
get the reps, and now you're gonna have to show up and do the work, and keep, you know keep hustling. So
Yeah. So when I yeah,
yeah, and then there was a part of me, that, in all honesty, I looked up several of these requests on IMDb Pro, and I was like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
really,
sure. They're not that
I
good.
had, they're not that good. I had judgments. And I, what I learned though, I had these judgments come up and then I was like, no, I'm going to go into every single meeting with openness and love and curiosity and sit across from this is a person who's dedicated their life to helping actors' dreams come true. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know what their story is, just like they don't really know my story. So I'm going to sit down with them and almost every single meeting, even the ones that I had these, it's so judgy, these judgments about, my heart got completely opened by that person.
Mm.
And I felt in love with so many reps as people because I was really interested in their story
Yeah.
and listening to why they do what they do and how they got started with their job and hearing about their own heartbreaks and their challenges. And so many of these people, they might have a smaller company, but they have launched careers that have gone on to bigger, the actors will leave a smaller manager
Yep.
or agent to go to a bigger place, and that agent or manager doesn't either go with them or they have their reasons for wanting to keep their own. A lot of these reps have their own company because they're in control.
Mhm.
If they go to a bigger company, they'd have to let go of half their roster. They don't want to do that to actors they've had forever. Like, they're loyal.
Yeah.
They and it was just like really humbling and beautiful. And I think that's what led to every single meeting ending with like, well, I'd love to work with you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, this
That's
was
crazy.
amazing.
That's amazing.
And
And it's
I
not crazy. It's what should happen. That's what should happen, what you just described. The
and I know you
humanity of
don't
it.
like to apply it to dating, but
Go for it.
I was like, I felt like the Bachelorette
I love it.
with like my 35 roses. And it was hard sending people home. I was sad. I was
Yeah.
sad. I was like, damn it. I could see a future with each of them. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I wonder what my career would look like with that rep. Or I just it was tough.
Well,
Like
I'm curious
I
about something.
really I was in a little bit of agony when that final decision happened. And it was
Ah.
very obvious for a lot of people around me. They were like,
Mhm.
this is a very obvious choice, but for me it wasn't because I connected so deeply. It's it's interesting, but and I really had to go back to what I was wanting and needing and
Mhm.
knowing, like, not only do I want a connection with my rep, um feel like, I can talk to them like a person.
Mhm.
I also need to, the number one thing on my list was efficiency, because I had gone through years with inefficiency.
Got it. Great.
And the managers that I signed with, that was like the first thing she said.
Wow.
She goes, Sarah, you need someone who's efficient. She's like,
Oh
we're
my.
very efficient over here. And like immediately like started working for me, like in that meeting. They were like, okay, what agents do you think that she'd be great with? Like, just started immediately
I love it.
brainstorming. And then that night went to dinner and pitched me to before I even said yes. I was like, all right, that's a clutch move. You guys are being flashy,
Mhm.
but damn, that's my number one thing is
So
I need efficiencies.
so how did you know that you need efficiency? Was there a part of the course that helped you get clear on what you wanted from these new reps?
Um, yeah,
Is it
there was
GP?
one worksheet that was like, I feel like I have all my worksheets right here because I
Oh,
want to
you
make sure I'm
do? I
prepared for
love
this.
it. Oh, you're so good
It
at
was
being
like
prepared. Wait, everyone needs to just know the fellow Capricorn so prepared for this interview right
so
now.
for that, in order to have a relationship that is marked by blank, blank, and blank, mine one of was I need to show up in my worth, prepared and focused on the goal is what I had, and
Yeah.
one of those words was efficiency,
Yeah.
and it's because yeah, and I really don't want to blame past reps, but I
Sure.
just didn't get out. And there was a story that I believed, which was, there's just nothing for you. It's bullshit.
Mm,
It's bullshit.
yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that reinforce that
There's
story. So many
Yeah.
things that try to reinforce. We have to really let go of, like, and there are other actors who will reinforce that story and say that is the experience that they're having right now. I don't have to grab that because it isn't going to
Hmm.
serve you in any. It's only going to serve you to move back to Ohio, right? That's where I'm from, but that's what that would be. That's
Yeah.
what we do. Yeah, yeah.
What was crazy about this and my shift in perspective is every rep was like, "Oh, there's so much for you out there." Yeah, I saw two things this morning I could pitch you for. I was like, "What? Really?"
I love it. I love it so much. So, Sarah, I'm having a really good time with this conversation. Are you?
Oh,
I
I'm
really just appreciate you
loving
sharing
it.
it. I really
Yeah.
appreciate hearing about this piece of your journey. So, when I will say that a lot of people in the moment when they get the offers and they get this many meetings, we talked about frequency earlier, but like when abundance comes, we sometimes don't know who to be. We become
Mm.
suspicious. We question. We're not sure, and we even start to question ourselves. And so it's been interesting to see so many actors who get to the point where they like have a few offers and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it gets like this very frenetic energy, and to bring them back to who they figured out who they were, remembering who they are in this decision, they get to make part of the process. So I just wanted to take like a moment here to for any of the actors who are listening right now who were where you were at the beginning or were having those kind of experience or were having any of those limiting beliefs or any of that stuckness, what would you say to them? What would you say to them?
Um, well, I would say um, what was told, said to me at the beginning, which was you don't. I was very, I was grumpy cat making that chocolate cake at the beginning, So, but like you're so good because you know that there's going to be a handful of people coming into this program with their arms
Arms
crossed
crossed. Yeah.
and their brow, turned
Mad at
down,
me. Mad at me.
mad.
Questioning, suspicious,
So
skeptical, all the
you
things. Yeah.
you say it. You say you don't have to enjoy making the chocolate cake, but you're still going to get a chocolate cake. Like, what does it hurt for you to just embrace the process with more optimism? Like if I could go back to myself, if I just you do
Mhm.
that, I would say like, yo, like you can make this either angrily or you can do it with joy. It's up to you. It's your choice.
Mhm.
This is exciting. You're taking action for towards something that you want, and feelings are fine. We all have them, but your feelings are just information. What matters is that you take action. Action is
Yeah.
when the magic happens.
Yeah.
So do go through it. Don't do the steps. Even, they don't have to be perfect. You just have to do them. Lean on your accountability partners. Lean on the community. The community is amazing and so supportive, and a really something that was key for me was to see other people doing it. Be like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. Oh,
Yeah.
if they
And
got meetings, I
that's,
can get meetings. You need that. Your
yes.
subconscious needs to go, oh, okay, they're getting meetings. I can do this to do it. And so, um, yeah, I even had judgments about the community. I was like, I don't want another actor support therapy group or whatever. It's like, no, this isn't actors sitting
This is
around talking about how
efficiency.
hard
This is
it's
efficiency.
efficiency.
Oh,
It's and you're very good with that on the calls. You keep people focused on the action. People have feelings, but feelings are really just, like I said, information to point to where you're out of alignment with the truth of who you are,
yeah.
really.
Yeah. And also, you said something so beautiful, Sarah, and I want to just point back to is when you said the people around you were very clear, like, yes, this is the choice you should make about the reps you're going to say yes to. And that you said, but I wasn't quite settled yet. And that feeling of unsettled is, I think, divine because it's the part of you remembering the beautiful connections you had with these other people. And so I'm sure that the no's that you sent out, which we talk about how to do that inside of the course, how to do it gracefully, but just that the turning people down became not a shut door, but a like, this wasn't for us right now, but I can't wait till, I see you again or whatever that is. I have to
Oh,
imagine there was some degree of feeling plugged in more to this industry at the end of
oh
this.
my god, yeah. 100%. I felt a part of the industry, and I have many open doors that were offered to me just as gracefully. And there are people I met with that I am going to invite to my theater company's shows, our plays, because we've got so many incredible actors in our company that may or may not need reps. But I just want,
Right.
I want them in my community.
Right.
Um, and there was one rep in particular that I was like, I just had this flash of us like producing something together someday. I don't
Love
even
it.
know. You know, it's just like,
Right.
you're not my manager, but like, let's make something else. You know, there's it's amazing what happens when you open your heart, when you just sit across from someone without that transactional ATM feeling of like, what can you get me, what can I get you, but just, can we connect, and as I'm even telling this now, I'm like having, I see their faces.
Mm.
I remember their stories, and they all inspired me. um and I felt cared for as an actor, because we have this misperception that they only care about us if we're making them money, and that's not what I saw. It's not what I
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah. And just so we're clear, like, and you saw 35 of them. So I just want everyone to take away,
Yeah.
like, this is not just a
Oh,
tiny sample here.
and like, be as honest and truthful with yourself as you can. Like, just, that's my other piece of advice, is the more just real, just I didn't puff myself up for the first time, and I didn't feel that feeling of like, I have to be on, I have to be sparkly and make them laugh. I just shut up, and like, people were like, "So what? You got your heart broken? You've been out of the business for a few years? Like what?" And I said, "Yeah. Yeah, life happened. Brought me to my knees, and I learned a lot, and I think I'm a better artist for it, and I'm excited about the roles that I can play now because of that."
And to some people, that will sound
And then
like,
they'd be like, "Yeah,
yeah,
okay, let's work together."
right.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's the magic.
"Great."
Right.
Yeah.
And to a lot of people, what you just said will feel like the most vulnerable, rebellious. That's a conversation you would ever have with a rep. What are you talking about? And that's actually why they understand who you are, why you make sense to them. I even put in quotes like, oh, great. I understand where you've been. I understand what's going on. It's so honest. You're having an honest conversation finally with representation, which I think a lot of people think it is that puffed up version where you're perfect. Everything's going great. And what you just described is one where you're like owning, yeah, things have not always been super easy over here. Things have been going on. It doesn't have to be that it has to be that life was hard, but owning, like you said, your story. I'm so grateful to that. I wanted to
Yeah,
get,
and
yeah.
maybe don't tell reps how many meetings you're getting if you can't feel it. That was another piece of advice. I was like, some reps are so supportive and encouraging about it. They want you to take all the meetings, but some reps don't want to know, And I mean,
Yeah.
I just tried to make sure that I ended every meeting saying, "This was so wonderful. Thank you for your time and your enthusiasm to work together. I have a couple meetings I'd like to take, but please know how much I value our conversation, and I feel really excited about our connection." And just make them feel appreciated. They just gave you like an hour of their time.
Yeah.
They're busy people, so
Yeah.
it's really special, and yeah.
Everybody jot down what you just said. I think that's perfect script for the end of it. If you ever get nervous, you're not able to, that's perfect. So I want to thank you, of course, for sharing this really beautiful conversation, Sarah. This was really nice. And I even felt a different energy come over me while we've been connected on this call. And so that
Mm.
means a lot to me to be able to share and be so just honest with you and real about what what it looks like to look for reps right now. And I wanted to actually give the spotlight to you for a second to talk about the incredible theater company that you have, so we can cast a little bit of some light on that and some shadow and some publicity of any kind. Hopefully this podcast now. Can you share the story of how IAMA came to be, so that we can, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are excited to hear this.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Yes.
my baby. So IAMA is my theater company. IAMA Theater Company, spelled with an RE.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
and we've been around, gosh, I think we're in our like, I hope I don't get this wrong, 14th or 15th
Wow.
season. I mean, the
Congratulations.
pandemic maybe threw us off a little, but we did do virtual productions. Um, 4 one-person shows.
Wow.
So we are about to start to have live audiences again. We just had a series. It's called New Works Festivals, where you did staged readings, That was our first time in the theater. We were at the Broadwater and we had audience there. That was
Yay! Oh my
so
God.
exciting. And we have an original ensemble piece that's coming up in February. And then I'm in a world premiere play called The Baby Play that's going to happen in May, June. But what happened was, I made, um, I met my best girlfriends in college. I was very, very fortunate to connect deeply with Katie Lowe, Stephanie Black, Layla Ayed, and Amy Rosoff Davis when we were studying abroad in London. And we just formed this sisterhood. One by one, we all trickled out to LA to start
Hmm.
to do TV and film after we graduated from NYU. And as we all got out here, we were like, well, we gotta keep doing theater. You know, that's our first love, and we want to have a home base where we can always come back and practice our craft and play with each other, and make art. So we put up our first play. It was a bit of a train wreck, but this incredible writer director, a woman we graduated from NYU with, came onto the scene or came to our rescue. Leslie Headland. Um, she's an amazing playwright and created that Netflix show Russian Doll, and
Right?
now she's working on a Star Wars series. But this was pre all of that, and she said, "I have a concept. I want to write one play for each of the seven deadly sins. I have the first two written." And we started producing her work, and that put us on the map and grew our audience, and we just kind of organically have gotten bigger since then and expanded our company, our ensemble, and gotten really serious about fundraising. And it's just it's I'm amazed. I'm always like, wow, like we are we joke that it's our daughter, and like she's like 14 now. It's saved me time and time and time again.
Yeah.
Community is really everything out here, and especially as an actor, to have a community is one of the most important things. And there's community here in Agent Goals, but you got to lean on other actors
Yeah.
to help you through. Yeah, and
And I
so
can also see a community as like community where you're doing the thing is so powerful. Where you're doing the thing, you're
yeah,
doing the acting, you're figuring out how are we going to do the tickets and all that kind of stuff that you must also have to worry about from time to time. Also, where are we going to
yeah. I
advertise and
mean,
all this? Like, and do you find that it just integrates with your career just perfectly? Is it clunky? Is it something you have to really be conscious about? What's the deal?
um, it's ebbed and flowed throughout the years, but all in all, it's been very aligned, and it's always been there for me, again, like this, to bring me back to myself. We you know I don't know if I would be doing theater without it.
Yeah.
I've done most of the plays that I've been in LA have mostly been with my company.
Yeah.
um, and I've gotten to originate. We do all new work or West Coast premieres, so I get to originate characters
Yeah.
through this company. And uh, yeah, I'd say that in the times that it has been clunky for me, it was my own shit getting in the way towards the end.
Got it. So it's only been a gift, is what I hear. Only been a blessing. I love that.
It's all, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So if anybody wants to get involved with IAMA, come see your shows, or know more about Sarah, where places we should send them?
Yes. Come get involved. Uh, let's see. Our You can go to our website, which is IAMA Theater,
Yes.
IAMATheatre.com.
Yes.
um, uh, on Instagram, we are at IAMA Theater. So I'm just jumping onto my phone just to make sure of
Yeah,
these
that's
things.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's at IAMA Theater. My Instagram is at Miss Sarah Utterback. And yeah, we have a, people who show up and want to work with us, there's always some place where we can get you involved.
Love it.
Everyone rolls up their sleeves. We've done that since the beginning. We, like you said, it's now starting to get to a point where we can have a team to do some of the work that we used to do, but we still need all hands on deck
Yeah.
oftentimes when we put a show up.
Yeah,
That
it
means,
sounds like a real theater company. That's what it's, a
yeah,
real
yeah, yeah.
ensemble effort. That's
Hmm.
great. So great. And so we will link to all of these things in the show notes, people, so you can check out iamatheater.com and both of the Instagram accounts Sarah just mentioned. And we'll be keeping our eye on all the good things that are happening
Oh.
in your career, Sarah. I just really want to thank you again for having this very honest conversation with me and spending this time with me. It's nice to spend this time with you. A little selfish for myself, actually, I would say, because I get to spend all this time with you as a gift to me.
Oh.
So thank you.